Okay. I hope you can hear me. Can everybody hear me? I don't know what's going on here. Nothing is working. Um, I'm going to look at the comments. Can you guys hear me? Put your hand up if you can hear me. I don't know what's going on. I can't change the background. Media assets aren't working. Yeah, okay. Well, hi, everybody. Sorry, this got off to it. Did you hear the music at the beginning? Because maybe it's just me. My browser isn't working, I guess. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. The background, you can see it's Moen's background. It won't let me change my background to, let's try this. Now let me try to go back now to Bombers Blitz. Maybe it'll do it now. Yep, it changed. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining tonight. I just came over from the Biggest 12, Clint Foster's show, where we had a spirited discussion about bowl games and how bowl games work. We don't have to do that tonight, but I think it's interesting. So many people are so passionate about keeping college sports kind of the way they've been. Um, and I'm more in kind of where we're going to mode. I think everybody needs to take a step back and just take a deep breath. And let's talk about things that are actually happening instead of talking about things as they may or may not be happening. And I'll get to a few of those comments and what that means in just a second. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I appreciate you guys showing up. Who knows where we're going to go when we do these shows? It's pretty extraordinary, the news that comes out. And it used to be news items used to be, here, then, every once in a while we'd have a big news night. And now it's like every week we have, even every day at times, we have these big news things that pop up that sort of take the storylines that we thought we were going to talk about, throws them out the window. Things that aren't like that at all. And it'll be interesting that as we talk about where the Big 12 is in the national media. I want to talk about where Utah is with their financing deal, which, look, you can be negative all you want against what Utah's trying to do. I'm of the mind, if it helps them, I'm all for it. I'm not a booster there. It doesn't, I don't care. Do whatever makes you happy, as long as my taxes don't go up. And that's where I think we start getting concerns when we do public and private capital, private equity investment into universities, spin-off programs for their athletics, and what that really means in the day to day, what that really means in the way that these athletic departments run. And as a state entity, whatever your investment model is, I don't have to pay for it if it goes south. I say go for it. I'm all for you. I'm happy for you. I want the Wild Ute and his University of Utah Utes to get as much money as they can out of a private equity deal. I think that's fantastic. I'm all for it. And I hope it goes well for them. It is an experiment. They're the first ones to do this type of thing, so I support that. Just don't come to me later when you're losing money like at Colorado or like the Arizona schools did for years, and they want a big bailout because they didn't run their money right. Then we have big problems. And that's where the questions need to come in when you sign a deal that's worth $500 million. And I'll bring up that article in just a second. That's a big deal. That's a lot of money. And we just need to make sure that the money is coming from the people that most need to give it, and it's going to the most people that need to receive it. So we'll talk about that. I'm going to bring up Brett Yormark and the Big 12, and Brett Yormark and BYU. I think there are some strains there, everybody. I really do. Canary in the coal mine type things. I've talked to a few other long-standing Big 12 fans, and they're like, maybe it's not so much of a deal, but 1 year is a marker, 2 is a trend, and I think we're starting to see some things out of Brett Yormark that doesn't. I don't know. We need to keep our ear to the ground and make sure we're tracking him, and hold him accountable for the things that we think a conference commissioner should be doing. So we'll talk about that. And I don't know, there were some other news things that I've already bookmarked that I'll bring up later in the show. But right now, let's just start off with monologue, I guess. And I don't know if I have buttons. I need to ask Moen if I can get some of these media asset buttons, because none of the buttons that are on the other shows I have access to on mine. But just really quick, I just want to get this out of the way, and I don't really want to talk about it again. But BYU being left out of the CFP and BYU not having the opportunity to play Notre Dame in a bowl game, let's just quickly address both those things. BYU not being included in the bowl in the college football playoff, we've known about for what, 3 weeks that wasn't going to happen. We knew that wasn't going to happen. The only way they were going to get in is if they happened to beat Texas Tech in the championship game. But Alabama got boat raced in their championship game and didn't drop out. BYU shouldn't have. Never should have been in the position they were in. BYU should have been ahead of both Notre Dame and Miami going into the last weekend. And by the way, you talk to reasonable Miami fans, they think BYU should have been ahead of them too. So people that know college football, that aren't completely biased and bought into the ESPN spin machine, all of them think BYU should have been in the thing. Now that they're not, I'm a big supporter for Miami. I'm glad Miami's in it. I want Miami to go and do well. But BYU should have been in that spot. Nothing else to really talk about. I mean, I'll let you guys rage about it when I open the phones in 45 minutes or whenever I decide to do it. If you guys want to talk about it, that's fine. I'll certainly listen to you, and then I'll give you my opinion. I'm just sort of over it. This is 2 years in a row. BYU wasn't really talked about 2 years in a row. An 11-1 autonomous conference school, not even showing up on a graphic. I don't even really. How do you even handle that? I don't even know. Let me see. Do I have that bookmarked? There's one particular, I think I bookmarked it. There's one particular graphic that I thought was pretty significant, and I'm sorry I didn't have it up right away to give to you. I completely forgot that I should have had it ready. Here it is. Here it is. Let me bring this over. This is the graphic that at the end of the day, the final way of looking at it, the thing that people can lean into and get upset about. This is really the one that stands out to me. I'm going to share it with you. Share this tab. Here we go. Let me bring this sucker up so everybody can see it. Where are we at? Right here. There we go. I'll post a link to this right here so everybody can see it. And I'll just read it. It says, "How we doing, Brett Yormark? Are you happy with today's result?" This was Saturday. Let us win it on the field. How's that worked out for the Big 12? Everything about your strategy is wrong. I would say it's college football strategy is completely wrong. Everything about it. The Big 12 conference was always going to get screwed. Nothing you have planned for years has worked. We're only talking about football now. You and loser Jim Phillips, yep, I named Jim Phillips, both of them, get together and demand equal auto qualifiers to the college football playoff. Of course, they've both been sock puppets for Greg Sankey for 5'11", 5'7", whatever it is. Earn it on the field should be on his tombstone because it's really been proven to be the most asinine strategy in the history of college football. I don't even know really. At least Jim Phillips didn't give a quote like that this last offseason, but Brett Yormark did. And let's earn it on the field has turned out to be a disaster. And I don't know really what else to say about it. He didn't do anything for the entire 4 weeks to promote BYU. He didn't even do it for Utah either. Happy that Utah and BYU are 13 and 12 in the first rankings. I mean, what are we doing here? Or the second rankings, whatever it was. Really, really, really dumb. So while I support the Big 12 Conference as an entity, especially as it relates directly to the schools, I will support all the schools in the Big 12, including Utah, to be represented more on the national stage. where we're at when it comes to their operation with football is completely ass backwards, and I'm not going to let them forget about it. Get used to this graphic. I have it bookmarked. Did I post it? No, let me post it right here. There it is. I posted it. You guys can bookmark it too. Pass it on to your friends and relatives. This right here is something that is not going to disappear. In fact, I'm going to repost it again. We are in a position where we need to go out and promote this conference as much as we can. And the conference, not the conference commissioner, but the conference needs as much publicity as we can get. We're not getting it. We're not getting the support from the conference. And a little bit later, I will go through comments that came up in the last 36 hours relating to Notre Dame and Bavacqua, the AD at Notre Dame. Everybody loves to hate Notre Dame, including me. But he's done some things that I don't think are the stupidest things in the world. And I think the way that everybody's reacting to him is, again, kind of a canary in the coal mine type of a situation. I want to put people's attention on it. Whether you guys agree with me or not, obviously, it can't dictate. But I appreciate everybody being here tonight. This should be a fun show. I've lost all my angst. It's gone. I did not show up tonight to rip into Notre Dame really quick, and I just did this on Clint's show, Voice of College Football, the biggest 12 show. Really quick, let me just say my piece. I've said this in the past, but I'll say it probably every bowl season going forward. I think the regular bowl games are stupid. What I think everybody should get is practices to the end of the year. Right now, if you're in a bowl game, and until you play the bowl game, you get those practices. I don't know why every school shouldn't have the option to do that. Just getting to a bowl game, and versus the first bowl game, which is what, the 17th of December, versus you go to a bowl game the last day of the year, you get practices to fill those weeks. And I just don't think that's right. I think the only advantage I can see to doing a bowl game is if you get those additional practice hours with your team. And I think everybody should have access to those. So I've sort of distilled my opinion down about that with the bowl games. The other thing is, you can have bowl games, whatever. They're a nice little reward for the players if they want to participate. It should not be a punishment, though, if they don't want to participate. And they should get paid to participate. It's an extra game that doesn't have to do with the playoff. They should get paid to do it. NIL money directly to their bank account. They can go out and buy a Ferrari, whatever they want with the money. I'm not saying it has to be a lot of money, $25,000, $30,000, something like that. But each of these players should be making money to be in a bowl game because the schools and conferences are making money. You know how you know that? Because Brett Yormark can't penalize schools for not going to a bowl game. Iowa State and what was it? Was it Baylor was the other one? Getting penalized because they don't want to go to a bowl game. $500,000 because they have contracts with these bowl games that they're supposed to put teams in them, and they don't want to play. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Where's that money going? Who gets paid that money? Does it go just to the conference coffers? Is it farmed out to the schools? Okay, fine, whatever, but it's nothing when you got 16 schools. So, yeah, I'm not. If you came here for rage against the machine when it comes to bowl games, you're not going to get it. I'm happy for BYU to make a bowl game, but Kalani loves them, and if he's the leader, if he loves them, then the team probably loves him. But if I was a player, I think I had to get paid for that because they're making mad money to participate in these bowl games, and I don't think it's fair that they don't get paid. And Notre Dame not being in the Pop-Tart Bowl against BYU, that's a non-story. It really is. It's a non-story. Notre Dame thought they had a position locked up, and to get screwed at the wire, knowing that you were the week before you were rated at that spot, that's pretty conniving. Now I'm happy with the result because I thought Notre Dame should have been ahead of Notre Dame all along. Miami should have, but that should have been done 3 weeks ago. Notre Dame never should have been in the position to think they were going to get that spot. Notre Dame should have been in that, or sorry, Miami should have been in that spot 2 weeks before because they won the head-to-head. So again, what are we talking about here? Who's really the aggrieved party, guys? I don't think it's okay that the whole process. I've been unhappy with the way all of this has gone for obvious reasons with BYU's treatment, but I don't think it's okay that these players are basically, how else do you want to put it? I really think taken advantage of. I am a pay the player guy. You're not going to hear me talk about, well, they get paid their salary, their little bit of revenue sharing, they get their their scholarship. That's great. That's great. It's a good selling point for every school. I don't think it's enough for what they're giving. So, yeah, that's my feeling on that. So, BYU being left out is probably the biggest headline, and I'm not gonna beat that up too much. And the reason I'm not getting into those things tonight, it's not like I couldn't have talked about those things, but it's because there are other news items that popped up today. And so I am going to get to those things after I say hey to everybody. And first, we had right out the gate, Caden the Diesel Freak. Thank you so much, Caden. $5 super chat. Caden's also a super member of the College Football Mafia family, saying BYU should have been in the playoffs ahead of Notre Dame, and BYU is better than Notre Dame. Notre Dame is what he says. That's a quote. Thank you, Caden. First of all, your loyalty to BYU is untested. I mean, it's very tested, and I appreciate your loyalty. Thank you so much for all of your support. I will say, BYU did get screwed. They should have been ahead of Notre Dame the entire time. And there's really nothing else to talk about that. I mean, it is what it is. The playoffs are off, and Notre Dame's done for the year, and BYU's going to the Pop-Tart Bowl. Good for them. That's kind of where it's at. But I appreciate the sentiment. Yes, I agree with you. I think they should have been in the playoff as well. Caden also gives a 1-month membership to somebody. Woo! And since I don't have my football thing up, hang on a second, everybody. Let me bring this up so I can actually tell people when they get their memberships. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay, that went to, where are we at? That membership went to Caden the Diesel Freak. Where are we at? Here we go. It went to MDRO9627. Thank you so much, MDRO9627, for being a member of the College Football Mafia family. I really appreciate you. I would encourage you to first thank Caden in the comments section. Just a quick, hey, Caden, thank you very much for the free membership. And then after you've done that, and I'd really appreciate it if you did that, by the way. We want to encourage people saying thank you. After you do that, when my show's over tonight, I want you to go dive into our library. Go to the main page at College Football Mafia. Across there, there's a bunch of tabs for the different types of shows, and go to the membership shows. The subscriber videos are the best in the business. Realignment, the business of college football, transfer portal, realignment again. That's what we do around here. That's where we make hay, is in the off season. And I would encourage you to do that. As soon as the show's over tonight, go to that library, check those out. And while you're there, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter, on YouTube, and then turn on your notifications. That way you know when we're around doing stuff. You will get those notifications. Just hit the little bell underneath the video. And turn on your notifications on Twitter. That way you know when we're doing our different things. Follow me right there, Bomber _ B12 Mafia, and at the College Football Mafia. We tweet from all those. I would encourage you to do those things. And thank you so much for becoming a new member. On top of that, I will say, holy cow, Auntie ONTI 0628, Texas Tech in the house. Oh, I love that so much. Another gifted membership. Thank you so much, Auntie 628 or 0628. I really, really appreciate your membership. Go Texas Tech. Win the whole damn thing. Not only do I want you to win it for me, I want you to win it for not even screw the Big 12. Win it for BYU, because you will justify BYU's losses to you. Honestly, we know how good you are. I know how good you are. Your defense is elite. You just need to put a few points on the board each game, score off those turnovers. You can win the national championship, Auntie. So I'm here for it. I will be cheering Texas Tech all the way. I don't have a Texas Tech flag yet. I was hoping somebody was going to give me one, but I guess if nobody's going to give me one, I will have to go out and I'll have to buy one myself. But if you do want me to buy a flag, you can donate money by making a super chat. I'd appreciate that. Or send me a DM on Twitter. I can give you my address and you can send me one if you have a used one. It's not money out of your pocket. I'd certainly put it up. But either way, by the championship game, I will have a Texas Tech flag up behind me. So thank you so much, Auntie, for the membership. And I will say that membership went to Stan Tipton, 6861. Thank you so much, Stan. Make sure you thank Auntie 0628. Thank him for being not only for him being a member of the College Football Mafia family, but you now are a member. And you heard my speech just a little bit ago to Stan Tipton. After this show, you guys go in and watch those member videos. Best in the business. Nobody does them better. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much, Auntie. Thank you so much, Caden, for your generosity. You will be paid back, I promise you. I believe in karma. And if you want to give somebody else and have karma in your life, good karma, I would recommend you can give a membership and pay it forward. If you've received a gifted membership in the last month, think about giving somebody else one. I hope you've seen benefit from it. If you've seen our member videos, I know you have. If you've just been to the live shows, that's great. We do good stuff here, but really our value add is in our member videos. Certainly our member live shows are a lot of fun. So thank you so much, Auntie and Caden. I really appreciate it. And here we go. Member comment from, here we go. Greg Disney Adventure, and that is Expedition Greg, who's a Ohio State Buckeye in the house. Good to see you, Expedition Greg. Hey, everyone, go Buckeyes. Back-to-back national championships. You're a member for 17 months. Thank you so much for your loyalty, Greg. I appreciate you. And thanks for being here tonight. I would love Ohio State, Texas Tech national championship game, if I'm being perfectly honest. And if even to the semis, if Texas Tech needed to the semis this year, I think that's a win. Because I think next year's team's going to be even better at Texas Tech. So get there. Go out there and win the stupid thing. And I'm a big supporter of both Ohio State and Texas Tech. So I'm on record. Everybody knows that. That's not news to anybody that's been around our channel at all. Okay. Thank you so much for those both super chats and for member comments and new members. I appreciate that very much. Let's get some regular comments in here. And since we're live and into the show already, first of all, I want to thank you again for being here tonight on a Tuesday. Let's see if we can have some fun. I will be opening the phone lines in a little bit. I'm going to get some member comments to start off. If you want to have your comment read for sure, make it a super chat. Other than that, I always defer to member comments. Those are the rules around here. How do you know if you're a member? Well, let me show Buckshot Kid. Wasn't first today, but Buckshot's always first in my heart. Member for long standing of the College Football Mafia family. Appreciate you, Buckshot Kid. Oh, hey, Bomber. Good to have you here, Buckshot Kid. That's the cheat code, by the way. If you want your comment to be read, if you put my name in your comment, I tend to read those more often than not. I'll only warn you once per show, but that is a cheat code. Thanks for being here, Buckshot Kid. Appreciate you. And that little S, that little symbol next to Buckshot Kid's name, also he's green in the comments. You can see his name is green in the comment section. That means he's a member of the College Football Mafia family. I always want to pat those guys on the back. Thanks so much, guys. Let's see. Kaio, I think that's right. Kaio187. Good to have you here, Kaio. Or I'm going to say Kaio. I'm going to go with that. Thanks for being here, Kaio187. I'm a Notre Dame fan, and this is embarrassing at all levels. The CFP did the right thing, and Notre Dame is still mad. The ACC supported Miami. A full member of the ACC, Notre Dame joins a conference. You're a Notre Dame fan, and you want to join a conference, Kaio. That is really, really interesting. Really interesting. For one thing, we don't have a lot of Notre Dame fans. We do have them. They don't always put their hand up, but boy, I appreciate you being here tonight. I have nothing but respect for Notre Dame. I am also super jealous of Notre Dame. So I'll say jealous things about them all the time. But at the end of the day, if I was a Notre Dame fan, I would not want to join a conference. So I would really like to explore that with you. If you're on Twitter, if you could do me a favor and right here, send me a DM on Twitter, bomber_B12 Mafia. Send me a DM. I'd love to invite you to the show if you want to join the show. And I'd love to ask you some questions about it because that's fascinating to me. If I was a Notre Dame fan, I wouldn't want to join a conference because you guys get all the benefits without any of the costs. This particular offseason or this season, you guys should have never felt like you were in the thing in the first place. You were head to head. You had the same record as Miami, in my opinion. Head to head trumps. As long as you have the same record, head to head trumps strength of schedule and all that other stuff. That's my opinion. I'm an old man though, so my opinion's a little old. But I would just tell you that's where I would be at it if I'm a Notre Dame fan. I did not show up tonight to knock Notre Dame though. I think Notre Dame's doing what's best for Notre Dame. We can certainly talk about it, but send me a DM on Twitter, and I'd love to have a conversation. Even if it's not on the show, we can talk on Twitter, comments back and forth. I'd love to get in that with you because yeah, that's a fascinating comment coming from a true Ohio or Notre Dame fan. So thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and subscribe on YouTube. Let's see here. Tempest in the house. Good to see you, Tempest. Tempest has been, he's OG at this point, member of the College Football Mafia family. Thank you so much, Tempest, for your loyalty. Well, Notre Dame, now you know how FSU felt by being undefeated and winning the ACC and was left out by the same team. They jumped you, Alabama. You can be mad at Alabama, and that's fair. If Alabama getting boat raced like BYU did, I think Alabama should have been out. I think both. If you're going to take BYU out, you have to take Alabama out, in my opinion. And then the next two would have been Notre Dame and Miami, right? But I think the writing was on the wall in the previous week's rankings when they swapped and moved Miami up to bracket BYU over the previous 3 weeks. The storyline finally came true that the head-to-head actually matters. And that's where I think that's where it was screwed up. It was an original sin, in my opinion. Alabama should have been out if BYU is out. If Alabama's not out, BYU shouldn't be out. And then Miami and Notre Dame are both out. But we all know the SEC drives the bus, and the rest of us are just riding on it. So, but yeah, the worst of all is Florida State. There's no doubt about it. Tempest is a Florida State booster, and yeah, they 13-0 and a 14 playoff. It wasn't even a 2-team playoff, a 14 play. That's a joke. I'm sorry. That is an absolute joke. Stephen Vitt in the house. Good to have you here, Stephen. I hope your show's going well. Stephen has a show. Make sure you follow him he's not on Twitter, but on YouTube. Look him up. How are we doing tonight, guys? One of the better bowl games will be Ohio versus UNLV in the Frisco Bowl. Yeah, I think UNLV was a bit overrated. I think Ohio got screwed by the stupid Maction, tiebreakers. At the end of the day, that's a game that I'll probably watch. I normally wouldn't watch that game, but I'd kind of like to see kind of who is better in that case. But yeah, that should be a fun one. Steven is an Ohio Bobcat, so that's why he's here. Daniel Gygax, the other Gygax in the house. Hi, everyone. Daniel's a member and contributor to the College Football Mafia family. Appreciate all the work you do for us, Daniel. Thanks for being here tonight. Caden the Diesel Freak. Hey, College Football Mafia. Good to have you here. Let's see. We'll scroll down. Try to get as many of these new ones in as I can. Clint Moses, the Oregon State Beavers, rebuilding their program, trying to get back to where they were a couple years ago, and they were pretty high. Getting dropped out of the autonomous conferences was bad for Washington State and Oregon State. If Notre Dame joins your conference, they will beach and moan. That's your conference's full fault. They didn't make it. Buyers beware. They will beach and moan. Beach and moan. That it's your conference fault. They didn't make it. Buyers beware. All right, where are we at? I was waiting for somebody to tee me up. So let me set the. I've been thinking about this all night or all day, how to sort of frame this conversation. Pete Bavacqua is the AD at Notre Dame. Do I have his original quote? I have one of his quotes. He had a long interview, and I thought about playing it tonight, but I'm not going to do that. This is his quote, though. One of the headline quotes. Pete Bavacqua talking about the relationship with the ACC. If you weren't familiar, in the run-up to the CFP picking, the ACC was full boat. Full boat. They pulled out all the stops for Miami against Notre Dame, and we all know Notre Dame is really propping up that conference. And if you don't believe that, I'm not here to convince you tonight. Maybe in the coming months we'll do that, but it's a fact. The ACC falls apart without Notre Dame's being one of their tent poles. But this is a quote from Pete Bavacqua. It has created damage, meaning this dissing they did to Notre Dame in the run-up to the playoff picking. It has created damage. I'm not going to shy away from that, and that's not just me speaking. People that are a lot more important at this university than me feel the same way. I think this has done some real damage, and I think the ACC knows that. Okay, and he also said in another quote, and I don't have that quote up, but the only conference commissioner before that interview he'd spoken to was the SEC, Greg Sankey. Put that in the back of your head. Greg Sankey talking to Pete Bavacqua. Okay, so you can take that as you will, whether you like it or not like it. His job is to represent Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's not in a conference, but they do participate with the conference. It's kind of like the Big Ten pissing off Ohio State and Michigan to benefit Purdue. Does that make any sense? Now, in this case, Purdue is not Purdue. Miami is one of the top 3 brands in the ACC, and you can say so. Purdue might be an analog to a Penn State. Make that argument, but it's big risks. Big risks. You're going to make a lot of people mad, and you have to deal. You have to deal with those situations. So Pete Bavacqua calling out the ACC for doing this. He made out to be, he did this big interview or, from a podium speech today saying, we're upset. Things are going this way and this, that, but we're not changing anything, right? And in the previous 12 hours, there'd been all these rumors that the Big 12 was courting the Notre Dame. Everybody knows who I'm talking about, MH Burr, who at times I've listened to some of his tweets every once in a while. I did follow him a little more religiously than I do now because recently the stuff that he's reached for simply have been sort of crazy. And one of those was the Big 12 was making a bid to get Notre Dame. Let me read these quotes to you. Do I have the speech? Give me 1 second. Do I have the actual quotes, the video? Do I have the video? Here we go. You guys listen to this and tell me whether you think the Big 12, this cracks me up, the Big 12 in any way, shape, or form is making a play for Notre Dame. Let's go back here. I think I have audio on.
I will say this, and I'm a little outspoken about it. I don't like how Notre Dame's reacted to it.
So
okay, I think Pete's his behavior has been egregious. It's been egregious going after Jim Phillips when they saved Notre Dame during COVID. We all knew, and it was very transparent. Hunter was very transparent about it, the chair, that as Notre Dame and Miami got closer together, head-to-head would be a factor. Okay, BYU lost. They became closer together, head-to-head made a difference in that decision. So I think he is totally out of bounds in his approach, and if he was in the room, I'd tell him the same thing.
Okay, did everybody get that? Did everybody get that? So does that sound like a commissioner that's been on the horn that's trying to court Notre Dame? Look, I'm all for a good Twitter conspiracy. I love following stories. I think it's fun to talk about things that could come in realignment, and dissing on Notre Dame hasn't been something I've avoided, right? But I've told you from the place I do that, it's from jealousy, and their vaunted status. I wish BYU was there. Honestly, I'm just jealous about it. But Notre Dame is in the spot they are because they were given that strength in the CFP contract. So who does Brett Yormark sound like to you guys? Look, I don't know how else to say this. If you're a Big 12 fan, I don't know how you can be super excited about where Brett Yormark's gone recently. He didn't do much for BYU. He didn't do anything for Utah when Utah had the same number of losses as Miami and Notre Dame did. I think Utah had a better complaint. I think it should have been BYU, Miami, Utah, Notre Dame. If it was bomber picking, right? But Brett Yormark didn't help those schools at all. He didn't really help Texas Tech, but Texas Tech didn't need the help. I am really becoming concerned where Brett Yormark is when he represents the Big 12 in football. If you would have changed the voice, if you put this through a mixer and you made the video, those words coming out of Greg Sankey's face, I think you'd say, yeah, that sounds right to me. You guys can hate me, whatever. I don't sit on my opinion though. And it's my show and this is what I do around here. So I'm trying to spur your minds. I'm trying to break you out of your funk. How wrong was Bomber when Bomber said it's stupid to trumpet 5'7", 5'11"? How stupid is it to turn down guaranteed spots in the CFP? I think I said that. Wow, you did too. Right? We're not just going to follow like sheep around here. Sheep get slaughtered. And the last 2 years, the Big 12 second team has gotten slaughtered. Both years, it was BYU. Makes you think, I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. I'm going to play this again. And you guys tell me how this doesn't sound like. Just picture Greg Sankey.
I will say this, and I'm a little outspoken about it. I don't like how Notre Dame's reacted to it.
So
okay, I think Pete's his behavior has been egregious. It's been egregious going after Jim Phillips when they saved Notre Dame during COVID. We all knew, and it was very transparent. Hunter was very transparent about it. The chair, that as Notre Dame and Miami got closer together, head-to-head would be a factor. Okay, BYU lost. They became closer together, head-to-head, and made a difference in that decision. So I think he is totally out of bounds in his approach, and if he was in the room, I'd tell him the same thing.
Okay, so at the end of the day, and I'll take that down, so you're just looking at me again. At the end of the day, I would just tell everybody, tell the world, start paying attention to what Brett Yormark does when it comes to the college football playoff negotiations in January and February. Right now, and for the last year and a half, he has been a sock puppet for Greg Sankey. There's nobody that benefits more from his behavior than the SEC. And he doesn't help his own conference. I'm starting to believe more and more he does not understand. And this is what's crazy. He came in as a wizard talking about college basketball, because that's his background, right? He ran the Brooklyn Nets. He did these things. He knows basketball, and I would never question any of his basketball acumen, and I think the basketball stuff he has done has been genius. I really do. But when it comes to football, and the reason I always took it for granted that he'd sorted out is because football's not that hard to me. There's politicking. There are other things that are involved. But until we go to a 2014 playoff, college football is pretty straightforward in my opinion. And he just comes across like he's been bent over for ESPN. And I know and look, if you're a Big 12 fan and you're managing from fear, everybody in the Big 12 now that has replied to my tweets with caution about where he's been, they all say, well, you don't want to piss off ESPN. You don't want to piss off ESPN. Well, what else can you do? They're already pissing off. Can ESPN put them down any further? They're already the 4th or 5th choice each week. TNT is doing a better job representing the Big 12 than ESPN is. And they're going to contractually be broadcasting us for another 4 years. 5 years. So it's not like they're going to drop us. Now, if you're managing from fear that in 5 years they don't bid for us, then I choose to live my life without being in fear. I choose to live my life being proactive and trying to dictate my future as much as possible, as much as my environment will allow me. I don't sit at home saying I'm just going to go with the flow and whatever the world does to me, I just am going to, turn my head and say and cough. I'm not going to do that. And I don't understand why anybody else in the Big 12 would want to do that either. Look, you're getting fined to not go to bowl games. I get it, right? You're contractually, from a Big 12 perspective, schools have to appear in these bowl games. And if they don't, they're going to get fined. Fine, whatever. Those are contracts. You're committed. You finished in the rankings where you did, and fine. But, what else have they done for us in football? I can't think of anything to hang your hat on. Him being upset, why is he upset that Bavakwa was mad at Jim Phillips? Why does Brett Yormark care? Why is he even commenting on that? Do you guys see what I'm saying? Am I breaking through? Because in my head, it's crystal clear. No fog. Why is he commenting on that at all? Why doesn't he just say, that's a Jim Phillips thing? Why is Brett Yormark saying anything about it? The people most affected are ESPN and the ACC and Notre Dame. It has nothing to do with the Big 12. And yet here he is stumping for what essentially is not only the ACC, Jim Phillips, but also the ESPN. I hope you guys, and this is going to be going for months. You guys know me. I have been, this is what I am. I've done this for 3 years. I'm not going to stop now. I am asking you guys to open your minds and think a little bit bigger than just cower in a corner and say, please don't hurt me, which is where the Big 12 is right now. Please don't hurt me. That's because we can't get it more than any one team in the playoff. And until we do, until we break through, everybody's going to be afeared they're not going to get in. And that's the worst feeling. And as a BYU fan, I'm trying to tell the BYU fans, don't let what happened last year carry into the next year, because that's what we did last year. Everybody shut up after we complained we got left out last year and we're talked about. Everybody shut it down, didn't say anything in the offseason because we want to go along to get along in the Big 12, and that did us no good. I'm not saying actively go against the Big 12 operations. I'm not promoting that at all. I'm talking about being a promoter of your own brand. Don't let anybody forget about your own brand. Do what the SEC did in the entire offseason. Why isn't he standing up just like Greg Sankey did? The minute Ole Miss was left out last year, where was Greg Sankey? Does anybody remember? Sunday picking, the CFP picks day. Where was Greg Sankey that day? He was in front of a microphone talking about getting left out. Ole Miss getting left out. Alabama getting left out. South Carolina getting left out. Where was Greg Sankey after this one? Texas getting left out. Vanderbilt getting left out. Where is Brett Yormark right now? He's saying, yeah, I guess they kind of got it right. He's not complaining at all. He's not complaining about not just about BYU, but also Utah. So why isn't everybody freaking out about that? Well, I'm not going to let anybody forget. I've got quotes now. I've got 2 years of things that have been commented on that I can refer back to and see, this is what happened. Everybody's forgotten about it. I'm not going to let you forget. And I make no apologies to anybody about it at all. There were some super chats come in. I want to get to these right now. Daniel Gorby in the house, Florida State. Good to see you, Daniel. $5 super chat. Also a long-standing OG member of the College Football Mafia family. Congratulations on keeping Coach Sataki. That's a win. I didn't really talk about that last week very much. It is a big win. BYU keeping Kalani Sitake in this offseason. I will break that down in detail. Now's not really the time. We still have 4 weeks of playoff games to go, and I guess 5 weeks, whatever. I want to cover those. I want to get to the offseason. But when we're in the offseason, especially as we go to the NIL transfer portal that starts January 2nd, we're going to be talking about Kalani Sitake. We're going to be talking about BYU if I'm around, and what we can do to get better. And as far as I'm concerned, they could not be positioned better. They're getting a bunch of NIL money now. Kalani's empowered. He doesn't have to worry about the regular AD, which is, thank goodness, good. Lots to talk about with BYU this year. And I think next year, this is my opinion, but I think next year, even though we were burned these 2 years, I'm kind of seeing a change in the narrative. I think if we're 11-1 this next year, I think BYU does get in. Anyway, thank you, Daniel. I really, really appreciate you. Let's see here. Huffer Billy Paw. That looks like a Clemson Tiger to me. Good to have you here, Huffer Billy Paw. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, all of them. Appreciate you being here tonight. A $5 super chat saying Notre Dame said to FSU, holded my beer. Look, yes, they did. And look, I'm not going to say that I wasn't a little tickled that Notre Dame was left out, but not for the reasons everybody thinks I thought that. I think everybody showed up tonight thinking I was going to diss Notre Dame because I didn't think they deserved to be there. That's not where I'm hitting them at all. I'm dissing the process. Notre Dame shouldn't even have been in that position to think they were in. And I think if that had been the case, it is possible they show up for a playoff or for the Pop-Tart Bowl. But they were led to believe they were in until the very last minute. And that's wrong. What they did to BYU is wrong. What they did to Florida State's wrong. What they did to BYU last year is wrong. And this year, what they did to Notre Dame is wrong. Flat out. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Huffer Billy Paw. Can you give me an update? You guys were beating my BYU Cougars pretty good. I wasn't watching the game. Give me a score update, Huffer. Billy Paw, I would appreciate it. I'd like them to come back, but 20 points or something. BYU's done it before. They did it against North Carolina, so I guess we'll have to see. Rock and Rant in the house. Miami Hurricanes. Let's go. Rock, you got to get into the semifinals. Get up there. Let's go. And people wondered why I despise Notre Dame. Yeah, I don't think people wondered why a Miami guy would despise Notre Dame. I knew why, Rock. But, yeah, good luck to the Hurricanes. I hope you guys do well, and we'll be tracking that. We need to you need to call me on your show, Rock. Let's do a weekly appearance until you guys are out of the playoff. I'd love to be there, talk to you about it. Caden the D's Freak, another $2 super chat. Texas Tech versus Ohio State. It will happen. I hope so. BYU, see, this is okay. Isn't that remarkable? So Huffer Billy Paw has come in. This does not surprise me. BYU is ahead by 4. They have an NBA roster. They do. It's crazy, but they have a freaky good roster. They get off to these slow starts, and then they come back. I'm not saying they're going to win, but it does not surprise me they came back. They're very, very good. I'm not sure how good Clemson is. So I admit I am ignorant when it comes to that. But thank you for the update. They have to keep me, if you could just keep me updated on the final score, Huffer Billy, I'd really appreciate that. A new comment, ooh-wee 2K, ooh-wee 2K. Let's see here, UE 2K, UE 2K, UE, yeah, UE 2K. They didn't get it right. Too many SEC teams in. Regular season should have determined which of those 20 teams were CFP viable. No conference should get more than 4 teams. Yeah, I mean, 5 teams in a 16-team playoff, I agree with you, UE2EK. I agree with you. I don't think they should. 4 teams is plenty, but I think we need to go to 24, and then you could get to 6. I'd be okay with. Greg Sankey needs to say, this enough's enough. I have 8 teams that could have been in the playoff this year. The only way to make that happen is not even a 16-team playoff. They need to break the whole thing, go to 24. And I'm going to be polling for that. Ute is going to be pushing for that. I think Daniel is going to be pushing for that. So you're going to get a lot of that around here at the College Football Mafia. But yeah, 24 teams is where I want to be. So appreciate your comment. It's great to have you here, UE2K. Thank you very much for your comment. And make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Twitter. Turn on those notifications. Let's see here. Husker Magic. I'd consider any team at 7+ wins versus P4 opponents to be a playoff worthy. A 12-team CFP is not large enough field to accommodate such playoff worthy teams. We need a CFP that involves more teams. 24. That's the number. Absolutely. Yep. You got it. You got it. We got it. We got it. Let's see here. You guys have come out with some really good comments. I'm going to work backwards. I want to make sure I didn't miss any. Let's see. I don't think I missed any super chats. I want to make sure I get all the super chats. Yeah, I didn't miss any super chats. So I'm going to go another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go to phone calls. The rules with the phone calls, I'll put the comment at the bottom, and you'll see the number 801-899-6203. You'll be able to call in. I want to get as many calls in as I can tonight, so I'm going to bust through the calls, maybe 2 minutes a piece, something like that. Gives me some time to have a question in there if I need to, so we'll try to keep moving, okay? Let's see here. Husker Magic. I consider – oh, wait, I already did that. Sorry. It's good to see you, Husker Magic. I appreciate you. Mark's Holy Grail, another newer member to College Football Mafia viewing. I appreciate you being here, Mark's Holy Grail. Big 12 and your Mark need to demand an immediate memorandum of understanding for a minimum of 2 AQs for the Big 12 going forward. I'm going to thank you for bringing this up. Immediately, no negotiating it. They give Notre Dame one already just for them, tied to TV contract. CFP is corrupt. Everything Mark has just said is absolutely true. And I would even put in there more. This was news on Sunday. It was news to everybody. This memorandum of understanding at Notre Dame, if you didn't hear about it, on Twitter, I've posted about it. I'll try to retweet it. I don't think I have the tweet up, but after the show, I'll retweet it. Basically, going forward, starting in 2026, if Notre Dame is in the top 12, they're in, regardless of the CFP. The CFP rankings could be Notre Dame as 48th. But if they're 12th in any poll at the end of the season, they are in automatically. So Notre Dame's in, guys. Notre Dame's not joining the conference. They're not going to the Big 12. Anybody saying they're going to the Big 12, I just showed you concrete quotes from Brett Yormark. He and Pete Bavacqua are not on the same page. I don't care what MH Ver is saying. It's nonsense. My good friend Drake Toll, he follows stories where they go. He doesn't always have the end of the story when he reports. There's no way Notre Dame's coming to the Big 12. If they leave, they're going to go to the Big 10. And when I say go, they're going to be membered. Like, they're not going to be a full-time member. They're going to join just for football, and then there are other sports. Anyway, whatever. I know what I'm trying to say. I'm not getting it out of my mouth. So Notre Dame's not joining the conference. Just drop it. Big 12, it's not going to happen. You guys can talk about it all you want, but you're silly. Brett Yormark and Pete Bavacqua aren't going to dinner anytime soon. I promise you that. Let's see, a couple more. Let's see. Larry, the GM, says maybe it's just me, but I think accusing someone of being corrupt with legal concrete evidence is not wise. Without legal concrete evidence is not wise. Is not wise. Okay, Larry. Let's see here. BYU's up 64-63, and BYU shooting free throws, which hasn't always been good. So keep me posted, Chris. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Let's see. Rocket Man says, no, it's not any poll, Bomber. No, it's 12. I don't know. It's in the CFP rankings, Rock. At least that's what was reported. The memorandum of understanding said if they're in the top 12 of the CFP rankings, they're in the playoff. That is that. If you have a tweet that has different information, please let me have it, because that's not what I've seen. As I am going through these things. Let's see here. C. John. Good to see you, C. John. Been a minute. Appreciate you being around here. What's up, Bomber? College football mafia peoples. Interested to hear your take on UAU's private equity deal and how your mark in the Big 12 reacts. So let's finish with that, and then I'll get to your calls. I have the link to that story. Let's go with Mitt Winters. Okay, so I'm going to bring up Mitt's report here. Mitt Winter, friend of the show, somebody that I talk with all the time. Oop, I shared the wrong one. Let's do this. More details on Utah's new plan for its athletics program. They have secured $500 million in a private equity deal. But I want to read these quotes to you so you're getting the facts, and I'm not just transposing what I'm hearing. All revenue generating activities, with exception of fundraising and assets, will be moving to a new for-profit entity. The for-profit entity will be owned by Utah's Growth Capital Foundation and private equity firm and donors. Essentially, they're going to build this third-party entity like the Big Ten was going to do if they ever get theirs done. It's a business entity, and that is a for-profit deal. And then what they're going to do is any booster dollars that they want to put to NIL or things that have to do with athletes run through this investment entity, this for-profit deal. So if you're a $1 million booster and you want to donate your money to the school, but you don't want to direct it to a single athlete, but you want to give it to the program, if you put it into this investment engine, you can make a dividend. Now, there is not to say that you will get a dividend back. I'm not sure if there's rules that require them to pay a dividend, but you could, because it's going to produce a dividend. A couple of the highlights of the article. The proposal calls for a creation of Utah Brands and Entertainment, a company to oversee the athletics department revenue sources. Autro Capital would be the minority owner of Utah Brands and handle operations such as ticket sales, media, stadium events, concessions, and trademark and licensing matters. I copied that and posted it, right? Yeah, okay. University of Utah, through its nonprofit University of Utah Growth Capital Partners Foundation, would have majority ownership of the company, and Utah Athletic Director Mark Harlan would serve as chairman of the board. The athletics department would continue to oversee student athletes and their scholarships, coaches, fundraising, and NCAA compliance. In June of 2025, the trustees asked the athletics department and the University Foundation to begin to explore plans to create a long-term financial plan for the viability of the athletic department and the University of Utah. That's the president of the university, Taylor Randall, said that. In June of 2025, the trustees asked the athletics department and the University Foundation to begin to, I already read that. There were some objectives in that. First, we wanted to maintain financial viability of the core of the institution, recognizing that the athletic department is part of that. Second, there was a strong desire to preserve Olympic sports or non-revenue sports, particularly women's sport. Okay, and then the last one is, these are operators who have vast experience, particularly in sports operation and management field. Make no mistake, we have staff that is set up, that has set all-time fundraising records. This allows them to merge with this company and to be led by a group of people that has tremendous experience. And that's the end of the quotes. And look who has joined us. Look at this guy. That would be Rock and Rant, who never comes on. I never see you anymore. I miss you.
Because I never know when you're coming on. You're like all over the place. But I don't want to hijack. I just wanted to clarify, because
Yeah, go ahead.
When you listen to playback, I thought I heard you say, and the chat can tell us, that if Notre Dame was number 48 in any poll, as if like the AP poll, that they would be, if they were 48 in the CFP poll, but 12 in an AP poll, that they would get in. That's what I heard.
It was, I might have said that, but I meant the reverse. If they were in the CFP poll 12, they're in.
Got it. And the thing that I was also mentioning, and I don't know if you either saw it or have read it, is this memorandum of understanding, which is ridiculous, but fine. That's a different
Yes, it is.
thing.
We didn't know anything about it. Yep.
But I don't think it's I think everyone's going to get worked up. It's good content, right? But
yeah,
it only matters if they stay at 12 or go to 14. If they go to 16 or more, it doesn't matter anymore.
I didn't know that. Okay.
It's specific to 12 and 14. At 16, because it's changing. Because remember, the current college football playoff deal is around 12 and or 14 teams,
14,
right? The whole thing is to negotiate with ESPN and others to go to 16 or more. The MOU is only tied to the existing deal. So if it goes to 16, it would be a moot point unless all four conferences agree to do that crap again, which I think, based off of the reaction over the last 2 days or so, right? I don't think there's any way that that's going to happen, because now that it's out there, people are outraged in general, right? That this happened. And plus, I don't think, for whatever it's worth, I don't think people are going to be rallying around, a 12, the 12 thing the same way when you get to 16. I know everyone's going to always argue who's the first one out.
Yes.
But people are also going to wake up and realize that, hey, if that had been in place this year, it would have been Miami, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But next year it could have been Alabama, right? It could
maybe.
Yeah. People are going to figure out that spot. So anyway, I just wanted to call and clarify, because I didn't know if you had read that other part. I think Larry, the GM, might have mentioned.
I did not know that. No, thank you very much. I'm here by myself, so I can't see all the comments.
I know.
It passed by me. So.
Oh yeah, I know how difficult it is even when you have other people there. So I've learned the last year thanks to you guys. So.
It's very true. So while you're here, let me ask you, what do you think about this new revenue thing they did, this investment arm for Utah? It's the first of its kind.
I was wondering where Utes been. Now I know. He's been probably pulling some strings back there.
Yeah, Zion's Bank. That's where he works, baby. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know, but it's a big one, right? That $500 million is not a small amount of money.
$500 million is not a small amount of money. I think that they saw what you guys did at BYU with Sataki last week and all of your alums, and figured they had to pull the trigger, because
I agree.
BYU is trying to play with Texas Tech after last week, which is, I said, I probably posted, BYU might have had the worst week ever in college football.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. You got completely screwed.
Quarterback getting hurt did not help, right?
I mean, got completely screwed. By the way, shout out to Notre Dame for keeping Jeremiah Love's injury status unclear, so that they didn't get FSU'd, but they got screwed anyway.
Well, if we're talking about the Heisman Trophy, I think it's Rodriguez, right? The kid, the linebacker from Texas Tech.
I'm surprised he didn't get an invite. I mean, they know that they're not inviting 5 every time anymore, but I was surprised that he didn't get it. Like, throw a token bone to a defender sometime, guys.
I mean, if anybody's going to get it, Jacob Rodriguez certainly earned it.
Yeah, definitely. He's been unbelievably impressive. But yes, the Utah deal is huge. I don't know where it goes. I think it's funny the different ways people take all of these things, because now that actually is a private. That seems like, and I don't know. I haven't paid as much attention. That
is an equity deal.
Equity as opposed to public capital.
Yes.
But I think that people are feeling they got to do what they got to do. So shout out to Utah for, not waiting around for the Big 12 to figure it all out and doing what they needed to do. Now, whether they sold their souls to the devil, we'll find out in time. But but BYU already thinks of their devil anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I would say this, and the reporting is that this has been long, and I bet you this has been talked about for over a year. The announcement, you might say, we could argue when the announcement was going to come, but I would just say this: Utah, there's in the public sphere, no matter who you're talking to as a Ute fan, I don't care whether they deny it or not. The story has been that BYU is just going to write check after check to pull over players from Utah as they steal from each other all the time, because they had more available in NIL funds. And whether it was intended or not, Utah here is basically saying, that's not so much the case. If we want to, we can spend money too. So there's so many questions about a deal like this, though. The public-private entity mixing. I have concerns, and this is the only thing that I said about it as a BYU fan is my only concern is the public backstopping this if it fails. If for some reason the investment arm goes out and blows it, puts it into an investment that blows up, and they don't have the money when the term comes due, do I as a Utah taxpayer does the legislature have to backstop this thing? And I've heard yes, and I've heard no. So I still think there's questions about that part of it. But I say if it's never going to cost me any money, Utah, go for it. I have no problem with it, and I say good for them.
Yes, so we have to be a trailblazer, and we're going to get to see it. But it would have been nice for college football to just wait to give us all the good off-season content, like 6 more weeks.
I know, right? I know.
Nobody wants to do that. We're going to do it all in 4 weeks of insanity that we've never seen.
And you're going to get robbed. Football. Miami's going to get robbed of some press because of it. It's true.
I you know what? I don't care. I never thought I'd live for the day that most of the country was on Miami's side, even though they should have been on BYU's side.
Yeah, if Miami had been there, I think BYU might have gotten it. Yeah, you know what? Whatever. It is what it is, and let's just move on. But I wish Miami nothing but good vibes, and let's get you a couple games at least, right?
Yeah, look, it's worth it just to get. You got to root for Miami past Texas A&M, if only to see me and Moen after dark on our show heading into game week.
Oh, is that who you're playing, Texas Tech?
We're playing Texas A&M, but if we beat Texas A&M. Then the next week is Miami, Ohio State.
Okay. All right. Ooh, that's a tough one for me. I didn't look at the bracket, to be honest with you, Rock. I'm sorry. Beat Texas A&M. I'm all for it. Ohio State. That might be I might have to flip a coin who I'm going to cheer for that one because I like both those teams.
Well, you already sold me out. I already know you're going for Texas Tech all the way, and you're doing.
I am going for Texas Tech. I want Texas Tech.
You can just join the Notre Dame side of the equation and root against me. It's okay. I got it.
No, I'm not rooting against you. I'm rooting for them.
Okay.
Be very clear.
But let me get off so you can get other calls. I just want to make sure you do that part of
Thank you so much. Hey, thanks for keeping me straight, Rock. I appreciate it. You guys doing okay over there? What's going on at College Football Express? You and Miami Flow?
We're doing good. We're not doing our show tomorrow. We're doing it on Thursday. But yeah, I can see some people over there, and channel's doing better than I would have expected. So I appreciate all the help from both everyone in the Mafia family and a bunch of people who watch you guys and have followed us. So I do appreciate it.
Yeah, look, we grow together, right? I'm all for it. Yeah.
Oh, one thing just to inside, I posted in our chat earlier, but for everybody else. The ACC offices did not put the Miami Notre Dame game on replay on the ACC.
Yeah, who
network.
did that?
That was ESPN programming, ACC network programming. It's all owned by ESPN.
Really?
And I'm, as I said to everyone, I'm 99.5%. I did not get this from genetics. I got this from somebody who absolutely would know and verified by somebody else. I believe you. So for the Notre Dame fans who are using that on the AD, it's like and when Paul Feinbaum says something about it on, Mike Get Up with Greenberg,
right?
As if he doesn't work at the SEC network and knows, how it works day to day. That's not crazy. What necessarily happened. Do I think, of course, the ACC network has influence from the ACC offices? Certainly the SEC one, but that first decision, it wasn't like they kept on calling, hey, do a favor, cancel the volleyball appearances.
Yeah, that's
replay that game. That's not what happened.
For a week. Just put it on replay. We'll go on vacation.
Yeah. So
it was pretty remarkable.
A little bit of news that like the Notre Dame fans are freaking out about and the AD has said stuff about, and that's not actually how it happened.
Right. Did you hear Brett Yormark's quote about Jim Phillips?
I saw that tweet, and all I thought is like, dude, you are a king that you completely destroyed narratives about Notre Dame and the Big 12 tomorrow.
Yes, he did. All in one 5-second blurb. He did. And it makes MH Ver looks like a silly kid after that.
I mean, look, yeah. I saw it and I couldn't believe it was really him. I was like, is this the On3? Because I saw it via the On3 feed, and I was like, I want to make sure it's not the No3 account.
No, let me get it.
And
no,
I
let me bring
the article,
it up.
and I saw there was On3, and it's like, dude, Brett Yormark gives no F's about anything.
Matt Freeman is who posted it, and I'll post it again. That is one of the craziest quotes I've ever covered since I started doing this.
Because and I get it, but you know what? Notre Dame has jumped the shark.
They did a little, I think.
They had every single right to complain about the process
Yeah.
As does BYU. Just to be clear, like I'm having the Notre Dame conversation now because I'm ignoring the BYU.
No, that's my opinion as well. Yeah.
Right. They had every right to complain about the process, just like Miami fans every right to sit there and go, what about head-to-head for all of those weeks?
Yes.
And BYU had every right to say, we have less losses, right? Like all of those things are fundamentally can be true at the same time.
Yes.
And they had sympathy.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of people go, and they could have had power to actually affect change. And they still didn't have power. Let's be real, right? They're one of 11 votes in the damn room. But getting angry about two group of fives, your former athletic director helped initiate the whole damn thing. He voted on it. You guys have Miami has 1/17 of a vote in the ACC vote.
Yes.
You have 1/16 of a vote, right? In the Big 12 representative on there. Notre Dame's got 100% of their vote.
Yes.
So that was ridiculous. But then when they did everything after that wasn't ESPN directed, right? Or the committee processed or the TV show thing, they completely lost the narrative, man. And shout out to Florida State fans, because you will never get grief again relative to what Notre Dame has done. Because you guys had 1,000% more reason to be pissed because you were 13-0. Notre Dame completely losing it over a TV show, which, by the way, they think that TV show probably needs to go away, whether it will or not as part of the contract. But when I saw that Yarmark thing, I was like, dude, that guy is a gangster, man. He's the only one of the four
he doesn't give any Fs at all.
He really, the only way he'll give you Fs is if he gets an endorsement deal to put signage on the field. Right?
Probably. And it probably has to do something with basketball. Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to him, man. That was awesome.
It was baller. There's no doubt about it. It was, and it just took all they're a free agent, Notre Dame shopping and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't listen to before this quote even came public. The only quote that Bavakwa gave out was the only person he's talked to has been Sankey. He hasn't talked to anybody from the Big 10 or the Big 12. It's a ridiculous story.
And just
so
I
thought it was stupid.
Doesn't mean he was talking about doing a scheduling agreement. He could have been like, this process sucks, man. Let's fix it.
How can you and I make this so that we get 7 SEC and one Notre Dame?
Yeah,
right.
Let's
That's
figure
what
out
they're
how we
looking
do
for.
that. Yeah, the plus one.
Yeah.
But anyway,
24 teams. Let's go.
Man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Rock and Rant, College Football Express in the house. Good to have you here, Rock. We will see you later.
Be good.
All right. I love having Rock around, man. He attention to detail, right? He heard me say something. Maybe I did say it. I said it wrong. But I did mean, they could be, all I'm saying is they could be ranked anything anywhere else. But if they're number 12 or better in the MOU says, they get in the playoff. But if it goes to 16 or more, and now kind of it makes sense why Notre Dame's been fighting going 16. Now it's understandable what Rock just said. If they go to 16, they lose this memorandum of understanding. They're giving away power. See, these are things people don't pay attention to. They get emotional. They immediately jump to stuff. That's why I don't really normally do 911, reporting. Is because there's always stories that you don't know what's going on in the background. Always. And I wish people just paid attention, slowed down, and got that. Good news for me. Stormy Cyclone says, Bomber BYU wins on a last-second shot by Wright. Rob Wright, man. He's NBA too. They got 4 NBA guys on their roster this year. BYU does. 67-64 does not surprise me. They need to quit getting behind in the first half, and they'll win these games by 20. They were down by like 20 at halftime or something. So thanks for the update, guys. I really appreciate that, Stormy. Okay, I am going to go to phone calls. I've already gone over. I'm not going to tell you when I'm going to stop. I will continue to take comments. I will say this. I'm going to invite super chats. If you want your comment to be read at this point, it'll have to be a super chat because I've already got a bunch of comments already marked from the regular comments. And if you want to call in, I'm totally fine with that too. That doesn't cost you anything. It's free. But right down there at the bottom, you see the reader. You can call in right this second. Let's see. On. All right, we're ready. 801-899-6203. Call in right now. And we're going to be quick because I'm a little bit over. Let's get your comments and questions. Call in now. It's free. And here we go. Hey, when that does.
Call from
Caden, the pissed off diesel freak.
Hayden, the pissed off diesel freak. How we doing?
Nathan, I think you know why I am pissed off tonight.
Well, tell me.
Notre Dame, you gotta be kidding me. You want to screw BYU out of the title shot just because you basically said you couldn't play them in the Pop-Tart Bowl? You're so full of Notre Dame. Do you know that? Jeez.
I appreciate it, Caden. You've been from the very beginning, even last year, you've been a super fan of BYU supporting, and I really, really appreciate that. It's hard to find people that are going to support something that isn't their own thing. So thank you so much for that support.
And I'll say this, Nathan, for the last 2 years, I've been preaching on social media that the Big 12 was going to be a conference that was going to dominate college football. Yeah. I said that plenty of times. You know I've said that plenty of times on my social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at K the Diesel Freak. You know where I post everything I saw in my mind.
Yes.
And Notre Dame, the audacity that program has just because they're independent, just really makes me madder than James Devo Harrison wanted to rip the guts out of Joe Flacco.
So let's not talk negative. I'll give you a few seconds. Talk about Ohio State. Are you guys set up to make a run?
Oh, we're set up to run, and I just realized I just ripped my shirt out of rage.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, but yeah, as far as my Buckeyes are concerned, Nathan, that game against Indiana was, you know what, a lesson. Coach State said that game was a lesson, and you know what? I have to agree with it. That game proved to us that we needed to get our offensive line together. And it was the week after we had an emotional win at Michigan. For the first time, Coach Day has finally beat the Wolverines after 4 years.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know, number 2, with a bye, I'm not going to complain. I wanted a home game against, Notre Dame or somebody like that or BYU. But you know what? It is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to complain about it.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it, Caden. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Nathan. There was something else I was going to mention.
Okay, real quick. Yep.
Since Texas Tech has got to gain their position in the playoffs, it's more likely that Texas Tech beats Indiana, and in the finals where it's all down to the wire, Ohio State plays Texas Tech in the national championship. Because Texas Tech's defense has a lot more weapons on their defense, let alone than Indiana. Indiana's got a few spots where it was exposed in the secondary against Ohio State. And let's point that out. Even the Big Ten title game against Indiana, Ohio State was just throwing dime bombs to Jeremiah Smith when even Indiana couldn't even cover him. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's more likely Ohio State, Texas Tech than Ohio State, Indiana. I mean, I'm just being completely fair.
Okay, no, that's at the end of the day, Texas Tech is going to have to score some points. And the easiest way for them to do that is to get turnovers, right? Their defense turns people over. That's how they get short fields. Their offense can go on a short field and score. But they can. The concern I have with Texas Tech is I don't think they can score with an Indiana. I don't think they can. It's going to be tough for them to score against an Ohio State. So we'll see. We'll see. If they make it to the semifinals, I think Texas Tech has to be happy.
And I agree with you on that. And I had your buddy Daniel Gygax on this past Sunday on my show discussing the Big 12, a little bit of the Big 12 and my thoughts. And I was going to ask Rock and Rant for an episode because there's a little history between Ohio State and University of Miami Hurricane fans.
There is, yes. Yep.
But, Rock and Rant, if you're watching or listening, hey, the Diesel Freak's calling you out, buddy.
Okay.
I'm calling out. So, Nathan, I appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
Never got OSU, we never got OSU BYU, but hey, next year that can happen.
BYU is going to be better next year. Believe it or not, BYU
That's
is be better.
That's true because I mean, with what Coach Carol's doing there, I mean, next year I see BYU going undefeated.
Yeah, we need to restock with some portal linebackers. We need to replace Glasgow and Kelly, but the rest of the defense is built back to front. Yeah, we'll have to see. I hope we're better anyway.
Oh no, and I agree
appreciate
with you, Nate. No, I completely agree with you on that.
Okay.
As long as BYU can keep their defense fresh,
Yes.
they can get some linebackers in, maybe some like, you know, actual like linebacker recruits.
Yeah.
And get like the young freshmen in there, getting them reps. You know, that's the best way those guys are going to really get their defense kicking up in the gears and start really hammering down, you know, the Big 12 schedule. And then Texas Tech, who knows, wins against the former Big 12 champion Texas Tech Red Raiders. I mean, it's an endless possibility with BYU's defense as long as they can keep that momentum on the defensive side of the ball.
I agree.
You know, in their hands. So
yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
Nate,
Thank you, Caden.
I was going to say I'll get my ugly voice off the phone line.
Not ugly. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you later.
See you later. Bye-bye. He is Caden the Diesel Freak. Look him up on Twitter. He's out there. He's got his own YouTube page. I can't remember the name of the YouTube page, but Caden put that YouTube page link in the comment section, and people can find you that way. If you've been calling in and I was talking to Caden, you went to voicemail, so call back again, and I'll try to get you. I saw there was a couple of people that called, and I missed your calls, so just call back. If you're next in line, I'll pick you up. In the meantime, we got another $5 super chat from Huffer Billy Paw. Thank you again, Huffer, for being active around here. I really appreciate you, man. $5 super chat. Texas Tech is a Final Four contender. I agree. I think their defense gets them to the Final Four. I just don't know if their offense can win the thing. And in the portal, they're going to be a better team next year, just so everybody knows. They got some skill players. They need to keep their quarterback around, the guy who got hurt, and maybe pick up a portal quarterback. Look for Leavitt to possibly go, Sam Leavitt, to go from ASU to Texas Tech. I could see that happening. Also, everybody, Vegas right now, I don't know what the lines are for Texas Tech to get to the championship game in the Big 12. I would take those very first listings, even if they're out for next year. I would take those bets right now, because they do not play BYU or Utah next year. I'm not into betting, but if you were going to bet on anybody to get to a championship game, it is Texas Tech to get to the Big 12 championship game, because they do not play BYU or Utah next year. Yeah. Which is lucky. Steve Moser in the house. Good to see you, Steve. Steve's a longstanding OG member of the College Football Mafia family. Thank you, Steve. $10 super chat. Be prepared for January 2 to 7 between games when we hear about the difficult Ohio State-Georgia semifinal and the easy Texas Tech-Indiana semifinal from the national media. Happy holidays, Mafia family. Thank you, Steve. Happy holidays to you and yours as well. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I agree with you. Yeah. Semifinals will be fun. We just need I want Miami. I don't know. I need to look at the tiers. I want to know who Miami plays. If they have to get by Ohio State, that's a tough one, which I think Rock said they do. But I'm a fan of. I like Miami. I'm a fan of OG football, and I think these big brands play really good football. Thank you, Steve, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Call in right now, 801-899-6203, and I will talk to you. I'll take your comments. Really quick, I marked this while we were waiting, and this is what I was talking about. This is the thing that pisses me off. If this is true, and I couldn't get it finalized, I heard both ways. Rich says, Rich is also an OG and full-time contributor around here of the College Football Mafia family, and he and I don't see equal to almost anything, but I respect his opinion, and I appreciate him coming on tonight. His comment says, good news is Utah's a public institution, so even if it didn't work out, Utah's the state flagship program and would get a bailout from Utah taxpayers if needed. So relatively no risk in this deal. And that's my problem with it. If that's true, then I could see the legislature and BYU fans everywhere trying to bring this thing down and undercutting it. I don't think they can stop it at this point because it was approved by the Board of Trustees. But I have real problems if this is true. I'm all for you guys going and making money on your own financial vehicle, Rich. It's not okay if the state's backstopping it. And if this is true, again, I'm only reading your comment, but this is my fear. If this is true, then I will actively be polling against it, probably for a long time. So I need to get my facts straight. I need to find out if that's actually true or not true. But if it is true, it's already pissed me off, and I will do something about it. Well, whether it makes an effect or not, probably not. Here we go.
Call from
Town Hawk.
The Town Hawk, how we doing?
Hey, Nate, how's it going today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, honestly, I'm a little bit under the weather, but
I'm sorry.
every time I call in, that's better. Well, I got my
No, I hope
tomorrow,
I bring you up. I don't want to tear you down.
That's all right. Well, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Utah deal today, the equity deal.
Okay.
I saw several different things. I understand why they would do it, but complicates things. If you do it on your own, what's the possibility that they can go somewhere else in 4 or 5 years? If we all know they hate the Big 12, so
right.
If they want to get into the Big 10, wouldn't that be a problem, especially if the Big 10 winds up doing an equity deal?
I don't think so.
Conference?
No, I don't think so. No, there's a difference between them doing it themselves and them doing it with the conference. That's what Utes always do, right? They would never do it with a conference, but if they did it themselves, it would be okay. So no, I don't think it would stop it at all.
So who are the holdouts in the Big Ten for not doing it with the conference? It was USC and Michigan right now, right? And that was it?
It was USC, Michigan, and USC and Michigan, and then there were other rumors of other schools that weren't exactly happy, but pretty much it started with USC, Michigan jumped on board, and then they wanted to shut it down. If you were the Big Ten, would you want to do any equity deal without USC and Michigan? I don't think so.
Probably not. Well, and I thought about it, seeing as Utah does it, and I think about KU because we're one of the ones that gets mentioned every once in a while for going somewhere else. I personally wouldn't be for doing it, but for a different reason. We just had a donor pledge $300 million.
You did, yeah. It's fantastic.
That's fantastic. Exactly. But that's 60% of whatever what Utah's pledged private equity deal is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I thought about this. In large athletic departments, when you start talking about mega dollars and with donors, they like to have influence. I mean, that's one of the reasons why University of Texas gets so much money. It's not just because they love their football that much. It's some of those guys have certain reputations and they want to wield some influence.
Oh, you bet. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Ego drives most of those donations. It's ego.
And to that point, that amount of money from the private equity, I think that kind of threatens their influence from that point of view, because they're no longer dependent on as many as much donations from the donors as they were before. But if you upset those guys, do they quit giving money? Do they pull back quite a bit from what they have been? That's what I wonder.
Because
maybe not to the extent
they're making it an investment opportunity. So there is the possibility, and there again, this is another one of the outstanding questions. If there's a dividend, if there is, you're investing in a mutual fund or something, and you get a dividend, if you do that, does it just get reinvested into the NIL or sports operations, or is it actually paid out as an investment to the person making the donation? I think it would be stupid if you started something like this for the university that's pretty much going to be used for facilities and to keep your athletic department at the very tip top of all of college sports. To pay out a dividend doesn't make any sense to me, but to pay the dividend back to the program makes sense to me. So these are questions we don't know the answer to this second. And time is the only thing that will determine whether people do that or not. But the idea that they just create the fund by itself, look, Kentucky, this might be the first private equity thing done in all of, major college sports. But Kentucky has done something with their NIL collectives and how they've broken out away from the university that isn't far off this. The only difference is they didn't put an investment amount to pay back to the school on that fund. It's just pretty much for operations. But that's not to say they couldn't convert it, turn it into, if Utah can get $500 million, how much can a Kansas get with all your championships? How much can a Kentucky get with their blue blood status? You guys are both basketball blue bloods. I imagine you have to be able to get more, right? All we've been waiting for all along is the question has been if this was going to happen. It was going to be when. Who was going to be the one to break the ice, and at what level? Because I think Kansas and Kentucky both can demand a much higher amount.
Well, there was the other key thing in there in the entire situation that I find very, very interesting, because Utah is designating themselves voluntarily as now a for-profit entity.
Well, the break-off thing is, the break-off piece from the university is, not the university itself.
Right, but they're going to be a different LLC or I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be a corporation. I can't remember the name of it. I may or may not have read it earlier, but yeah, there's the university, and then there's this investment arm, and it has its own corporate structure. Mark Harlan's going to be the board chair. He's the AD, stuff like that. I think Randall's going to be one of the officers. And he's the president of the school. So the school is definitely in control of this thing, but it is a separate entity. And that's why I kind of, and BYU fans in general, it perks up your ears if you hear that if you were to hear the Kansas legislature was underwriting a Kansas State $500 million deal, and if it fails, because it's an experiment nobody's ever done before, if it fails, now your property taxes go up $50 a month or whatever, that would piss you off.
Especially if it's your rival school.
That's what I'm saying. And anybody look, if you're fighting against that and that's the actual structure, you're lying to yourself. I don't believe you. Because I can't imagine that you'd want to enable your rival to be able to do that. I want Utah to be successful on their own. If they can make this run in the business without costing me a cent, I'm all for it. Go for it. You do you. But the minute it fails and you go to the legislature and say, we need $30 million like Colorado's done, and then they need to fire a bunch of people because their operations. By the way, Utah in the offseason, they were behind. They owed the state like 12 million, something like that. And that had to come through the legislature. Now they're coming at us again. If this thing fails, they're going to get that underwritten. That's not okay with me.
Well, something just very slightly different state to state. Something I have a little bit of experience.
Sure.
Well, experience with as far as the oversight, because it's a for-profit entity. Like here in Texas, if you're a for-profit business, you know what you have to do. You have to kick in sales tax every quarter.
Yes. Well, every state does it different. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. I helped a startup like 10 years ago, and they did their first quarter in retail, and I want to say they did maybe $1,000 worth of retail sales. The owner didn't pay the first quarter, and you know what? About 6 weeks later, knock, 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 here comes an officer from the state, and that was over about, $80 or $90.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So certain states, I imagine, are much more on top of things. I think it would be very interesting to see how much scrutiny some of these entities may be setting themselves up for.
Well,
I'm sure some of the people that are running them are very, very intelligent. And I understand that, but we've also heard some of the rumors about brother-in-law deals, vendor kickbacks, and all that fun stuff. And I think that'd be interesting because most of them don't want a light on that as much as possible. But we'll see.
I think you're thinking exactly right. You have personal history, and so that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll talk about that in the off season. I'd like to research that a little bit more. You know who else knows about these public financing things is Fergie, the Colorado guy that we've had around. Super, super awesome. And I want to talk to him about they've mortgaged their future with Dion, and now those bills are coming due. And they're not doing so good at the University of Colorado with money. So these are things that it's going to be, we will not know in the immediate future how these things are going to work out. We will know in a year. We will know in 2 years. And I will just tell everybody, don't get too wrapped up about whether it's one thing or the other, unless you have an impending interest concern. And with this thing in Utah, the question's going to be, and again, Rich said one thing, and I wasn't sure if that's true or not, but if it is true that the investment is underwritten by the state of Utah because it's a Utah entity, and that's the case, and my taxes could go up if this thing blows up, I and a lot of people in the state are not going to be happy about that, and I'm just going to say that and leave it at that. So.
Oh, I understand. Okay. Real quick, I'm gonna give you a hot take, and then I'm gonna jump off.
Okay, no problem.
You mentioned Colorado. I have to say it. The best off-season coaching hire so far in the Big 12. I got to give it to Dion because he's bringing in Marion.
Yes.
From the go-go offense from
was it
UNLV.
Sac State? Yeah, I can't remember. UNLV. Okay. Yeah.
What they did. I mean, KU, we beat them in the bowl game a couple of years ago, but I mean, what they were doing up and down the field, it was pretty impressive to see exactly, how fast they can move the ball and go from nothing to, moving down the field.
Right.
Snap your fingers. So
the problem with those run and gun offenses, the problem with those run and gun offenses, and this, you're old enough to remember, is that your defense is always put on an island. Your defense,
and if you go
tired.
3 and out, your
defense is back on the field again. So I am not. It worked for a little bit, flashed in the pan. Houston Oilers and all those other fun. There's a reason those offenses aren't in the NFL. It's because your defense cannot be on the field 60 or 70% of the time because you go 3 and out. You just can't do that. So
true, but I think it gives you an equalizer from a lack of talent.
If you're in that position, it does do that. It does moderate some of those skill positions. You're right. It does. All right. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much to Town Hawk. I hope you have a good holiday. Buddy.
You too, Nate. Are you gonna have another show before?
I will. I'm gonna do. Christmas? Yeah, I'll be Tuesday through the end of the season. Yep.
Okay, man. I'll talk to you next week then.
Okay, great. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. He is the Town Hawk. Thank you so much, brother. To Town Hawk and Caden the Diesel Freak. Thank you guys for joining the show. I do this for you, not for me, although I do love hearing you guys talk and ask questions. Phone lines open, 801-899-6203, 801-899-6203. Call in right now. I'd love to hear your comments and questions. In the meantime, I've marked a few more comments here. Quick shout out. We're about 20 minutes to the top of the hour. I would say I'm marking as many comments as I can, but if I don't get to your comment, the easiest way to have me read it is make it a super chat. Like you've seen super chats come out tonight. I read all those and I'll make sure that we talk about it. You can also call in right now, 801-899-6203, and let's talk. And last but not least, I ask you to follow me on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. Turn on your notifications on Twitter and on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. I always forget to ask that, but you guys are pretty good about giving us thumbs up. Let us know how we're doing. Leave comments and questions. We're here for you, not for ourselves. At least I'm not. Some people are here for themselves. I am not one of those people. So I'll read a few comments that I came across while I was waiting, and you guys are welcome to call in, and I'll talk to you more. 801-899-6203. I'll work backwards through these. UE2K. And Notre Dame doesn't play the McNeese States of the world. No shade to them. Notre Dame's never had any problems scheduling games before the ACC and won't have a problem when it implodes in about 2 years. No. If you're a fan of an ACC school, we have Clemson people in here. We have Virginia Tech people in here. Georgia Tech people watching the show. All you guys are super loyal. I appreciate all of you. If Notre Dame was to leave the ACC, you guys need to be calling the Big 12 because the ACC will die. So if you're not one of the best brands, and the best brands, there's about 7 or 8 in the ACC that you could say immediately. If you're not one of those schools, the ACC is a crutch. Sorry, Notre Dame's a crutch. And if they leave, you guys are in real trouble. Just warning you up front. The Clemsons of the world will be fine. Miami, Florida State, probably Virginia Tech, certainly Louisville. You guys all have spots in the Big 12 if you want them. But if Notre Dame leaves the ACC, it's done. 18 months maybe. It'll become a basketball conference pretty quickly if that was to happen. So all the rumors that they were going, Notre Dame's going to the Big 12 is a bunch of nonsense. I don't normally call out people and stories, but tonight I just couldn't take it anymore. Well, everybody's here. And since everybody got here a little bit late, I'm going to play this comment from Brett Yormark earlier. This is Brett Yormark. Does this sound like a guy who, how do I put this nicely? Does this sound like a guy who has been working with Notre Dame to bring him into your conference?
I will say this, and I'm a little outspoken about it. I don't like how Notre Dame's reacted to it.
So
okay, I think Pete's his behavior has been egregious. It's been egregious going after Jim Phillips when they saved Notre Dame during COVID. We all knew, and it was very transparent. Hunter was very transparent about it, the chair, that as Notre Dame and Miami got closer together, head-to-head would be a factor. Okay, BYU lost. They became closer together, head-to-head made a difference in that decision. So I think he is totally out of bounds in his approach, and if he was in the room, I'd tell him the same thing.
So, look, guys, you're super smart. I love doing this show because I have the smartest viewers in all of social media. I know it. If you're watching on X, do me a favor really quick. Open up another window and go to College Football Mafia on YouTube and hit the subscribe button. But we're pretty transparent around here. And any stories that Big 12 fans, and we've started off as a Big 12-centric show. We still certainly do Big 12 stuff because both Ute and I are Big 12 members, BYU and Utah. But Brett Yormark has been all over the place. And right now, I really think Brett Yormark, for one thing, that's gangster quote. He is putting it out there, basically telling Notre Dame, you're not going to get any joy talking to me. I support my commissioner brother, the ACC. This does not sound like a guy who's doing backroom deals to bring Notre Dame to the Big 12. You've seen stories the last 24 hours that was a real possibility. I see this quote today, and I could not be more on record. And I might be wrong. Tomorrow they might sign some crazy deal, and this was all a super feint, right? And a drive to the hoop and a dunk on me. But this does not sound like a guy who's been talking to Paul, is it Bavakwa, right? Bavakwa for the AD at Notre Dame to bring him into the Big 12. That's not a conversation you're having if you're bringing them into your conference. So, Brett Yormark, very tough, and saying Notre Dame got what they got. My question with Notre Dame isn't does Notre Dame deserve it. My question with Notre Dame was, no, Miami should have been ahead of them all along. BYU, Miami, Utah, Notre Dame, in my opinion, but nobody listens to me. So That was the original sin, and the committee screwed up and had Notre Dame in there. They never should have been that high in the first place. Head-to-head matters, people. If you beat somebody during the season, you've earned the head-to-head. You should be ahead of the other team. As long as if you have the same records, that's it. And you know how I know that? Because 2 years in a row it's happened. Happened to BYU last year. SMU got in with a loss in the conference championship game. BYU didn't this year. BYU beat SMU last year, got screwed, and didn't get into the playoff, even though they were head-to-head. So at least I'm on record and very transparent about the fact I think head-to-head matters and should matter. Notre Dame should have never been in the spot to get screwed out of the spot. But I think moving them at that late date, while I am happy it happened, I don't think it was right. So Notre Dame to the Big 12, I don't think so, guys. I mean, you guys can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm telling you what I believe. Where we're at. 801-899-6203. Call in right now. I'll take your calls. Let's talk. I'm going to get some more comments I marked. First, I want to get to this one. Johnny Jackson, the Emperor. Thank you for being here, Johnny Jackson. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and become a member of the College Football Mafia family. Appreciate you. And also hit the join button and consider becoming a full-time member. I said subscriber. Remember, those words are screwed up. Become a member of the College Football Mafia family by hitting the join button. Become a member. Okay. BYU earned my respect when they play the bowl game, and hopefully they win. Thank you very much, Johnny Jackson. That's really cool. I think BYU has been really classy through the whole process. As Huffer Billy Paw says right here, I agree, Johnny. BYU was classy. I think BYU has done everything the right way the last 2 years. If you're new around here, you know that I said this. They got screwed last year at the same time when they should have been in. Certainly I'm not going to say anything about Clemson, but should have been ahead of SMU last year. So BYU 2 years in a row has been screwed, and that's just the way it goes as far as I'm concerned. So thank you very much, Huffer Billy Paul. I believe BYU has been classy, and I'm happy to represent them. Johnny Jackson also said the ACC should kick Notre Dame off the schedules. Don't even take a paycheck. Let them schedule McNeese State. Well, you can do that for principle, but I think you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, Johnny. Notre Dame brings you dollars. I'm not sure what your school is in the ACC, if it's in the ACC, but you guys need Notre Dame more than they need you. You really, really do. The ACC needs Notre Dame. So, deal with the devil. You always knew a deal like that could happen where who do you promote? Notre Dame or the conference? We talked about it last year. We weren't sure it was going to come up this year, but it did for sure. And they went all in on Miami, which is cool. I'm a Miami fan, but the process sucked. I didn't like it. And totally, just what they did to them was just wrong from a process perspective. Not that they deserve to be in ahead of some of these other schools. But the ACC needs Notre Dame. They'll find people will schedule them. And that's why they have the power they do, is because people will schedule them. We all like to yell in the void saying, no, we won't schedule them, but you would. Because they bring money, and your schools need money. Stormy Cyclone earlier said, Bomber, Utah has a buyout clause in the contract, according to Peek Around the Corner. They do. Talking about that $500 million private equity deal, they do. At 5 to 7 years, they have an opportunity to buy their interest back. They can do that. So that clause was also, maybe it's in all private equity deals. You would have to answer that, but because he's the expert. But the buyouts, I think, are normal. But that you're assuming you have the money to buy it out, and that's just it. We don't know. It's an experiment. We don't know if they'll have the money or not. But they do have a buyout clause. It's true. Let's see here. Greg, Expedition Greg in the house, Ohio State. Valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. $2 super chat. I would like to hear anyone justify Bama over BYU. Yeah, they certainly haven't come on this show. Expedition Greg. I'd love to talk to him. Call in right now, 801-899-6203. If you're somebody that wants to talk about your school, I will give you time. I haven't cut anybody off. I think I'm pretty fair when you call in. You might not agree with me. That's cool. I love when people don't agree with me because I would like to have a conversation about it. I value those. That's why I started the channel in the first place. So, yeah, Bama shouldn't be. BYU should be in that spot. It never should have been an option. Those other schools never should have had an option. It should have been BYU, and in my opinion, BYU, Miami. And if you had 3, BYU, Miami, Utah. That's what I would have done. But nobody called me, unfortunately. And we know that Mark Harlan did not promote BYU. I guarantee it. I wish these calls and stuff were recorded. We could do a FOIA request and find out their conversations. I guarantee they didn't put anything in writing, but he was the absolute worst person to pick. Somebody needs to ask him that question. Utah's about class. Already covered that. Okay. Let's see if there's any other comments I marked earlier. Husker Magic. This was from a long time ago. How about a 16-team CFP with each P4 conference championship game winner, top 2 G6, top 10 non-conference game winners, 7+ wins versus P4. If now enacted in round 1 seeding 1 to 16 has Duke, JMU, TU, Georgia, Virginia Tech, Texas Tech, BYU, Oregon, Notre Dame, is that Mississippi, Miami, A&M, and Alabama and Oklahoma rematches in some of those. Yeah. Look, anything's better than 12 or 14. I would prefer 24 and auto qualifiers for the A4 conferences. 4 of them. And then you go to 6 and 2 or 2 and 6, however you want to say it. That's what I would do if it was up to me. 24 teams. First 2 round games are at home on campus. The first 1 to 8 get a bye. Pretty simple. You don't have to get into gyrations of rankings or this, that, and the other. Top 4 in each conference. Conference picks them. That's what I would do if they asked me. So Husker Magic, thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's a cool idea. Let's see, Carla Jenkins TV. If you're not following Carla goes through and marks videos, short videos, clips of videos on Twitter. Follow Carla, fantastic gal, somebody who does good work, and her Twitter is awesome. Takes clips of us, other shows, and puts them out there, really stays on top of the news. I really appreciate her. I frequently take stories that she's reclipped and use them all the time. Carla says, Dennis Hattie, Fox through the Big Ten Network is promoting that they have 3 of the top 5 playoff seeds. It is a jab because the ESPN teams aren't 1 and 2, and the Big Ten title game got 18.3 million. That is the thing. If we're talking about viewership, during the season, overall ESPN and ABC won. But if you're looking for one-off games, I believe the top 3 were all Big Ten games. Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana, and was it Ohio State, Penn State? I can't remember what the third one was. I think we're all the most viewed. Well, I don't know. Maybe they were just talking about the Big Ten. I can't be sure. But those 3 were monster numbers. And Ohio State, Indiana was the biggest of all of them, which is hard to believe. It beat the game. So thank you, Carla. Appreciate that note. It's great to see you tonight. Thank you so much. Let's see. Buckshot Kid. It's a funny listening to all the Notre Dame shows crying. In the ACC, they sound like my kids. Yeah, well, I understand that. Yeah, they're upset. They were led down a primrose path. I don't think it's okay what they did to them, but they should be big. They should be big boys. They are Notre Dame. If you weren't here at the beginning of the show, you heard my quote. My quote is, I think bowl games that aren't in the CFP are stupid, to be perfectly honest. However, you can make them real practical in 2 different ways. The first way would be make all the bowl games, you pay money to the players to attend, an NIL amount. The more payout, or the bigger the bowl game, the more money they can play the players. And that's a reward for being a better team to get into those other bowls. I would be okay with that. I'm not okay with requiring a team to stick around to play a 15th game or whatever. I don't see that. So you're not going to get that from me. Bowl games are fun, but yeah, whatever. The second part of bowl games is if you go to 24, that gives you 25 games or 23 games, bowl games. You can make them all bowl games that are part of the playoff. Just make those bowl games. The Ohio State, they get the branding, but it's at Ohio State Stadium. Or it's here in Provo. It's a home game, but it's the Outback Bowl, whatever. That's another way to keep the bowl games going. But required attendance in this day of opt-outs and getting ready for the draft and transfer portal, all these things, I just think it's stupid. I just don't. I'm sorry. I've been jaded about bowls for a long time, actually. I haven't really been loud about it, but the last 18 months, but the last offseason and this offseason, I'm sort of over it. So requiring teams to show up to play in a game, saying their reward is they get their whatever NIL they're already getting, they get their scholarship, they're required to show up as part of they have to pay the price. I'm not into that at all. I don't like that at all. If you've talked to a player or if you know a player and you understand really what it's all about for them, if the bowl game is what they're happy about, UAB, if they're happy about a bowl game, go to a bowl game. I'm just not okay with you requiring people to show up. If they don't show up, they shouldn't be penalized. But if they do show up, they should be rewarded. That's how Bomber fixed the bowl game season. Make them part of the playoff. That's the first fix. Second fix is pay them NIL money to show up, an appearance fee, and reward them. They get their little trip. And then the schools. Oh, that's the other thing. All schools, that's the other benefit. Why back in the day, BYU, right? In the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, BYU was a perennial bowl appearer like every year, and they always won these games, and it was always something fun to look forward to. The reason that Lavelle Edwards came out and said Lavelle Edwards, one of the best coaches of all of college, of all of football history, very wise, said the only reason I want a bowl game is, one, I want to reward the players. At the time, that was a big reward. Two, I want the extra practices. So to me, I don't think it's fair that a Colorado who went 5-7, I believe, right? Maybe they're going to bowl game. I'm not sure. They should get those additional practice days to the end of the year. I don't think it's fair. If you didn't make a bowl, you don't get those extra practice days. I don't think that's right. A lot of people don't like me, though, because I also think that steroids are fine as long as they're administered by a doctor and managed. So a lot of people don't like my opinions, but that's where I'm at with it, honestly. Let's see. I'm going to work backwards through a few more cool comments I've seen come through. I'm going to do a last call for any super chats, new members. I defer to those comments. Thank you very much for those people. I read all super chats. And then I'll do a last call for call-ins. I'm taking call-ins. So if you're new, you're just watching right now, you want to talk anything college. It doesn't have to be something you've just heard me in the last few minutes. Call in and let's talk about it. 801-899-6203. Go Gators. Don't get a lot of Florida Gators around here, but I appreciate them being here. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube. Go to College Football Mafia on YouTube if you're not watching on YouTube. And we do these shows. I do the Tuesday night show. Moen sometimes does a Wednesday or Thursday show. We do members shows, so members get their own shows. And then we have special videos, member videos, realignment, if you like that. We talk NIL. We talk the business of college football. We bring in big name interviews. If you don't believe me, go to our library section and you'll see some of the big interviews we've had. Bob Thompson, certainly. Cody Campbell, I've interviewed. I'm going to be breaking up his comments from the interview I did a few weeks ago with him. I'm going to be repopping those soon. We do more than just the season. In fact, we're better in the off season. So I'm asking everybody to subscribe, follow, and then give us a thumbs up. Let us know how we're doing, comment or question. All right, let's see here. Go Gator says, friends call me Sean. They got that one wrong. A&M should be flipped with Mississippi. Yeah, the seeding, I don't really have an opinion about that because I haven't looked at the seeding because I was just paying attention to BYU getting screwed, I'll be perfectly honest. Let's see here. Jose, so much development going on in Florida. Gators have roamed into other areas. Gators will always have a top 10 recruiting class, always. Florida's, I'm kind of surprised Kiffin didn't take the Florida job. I will be perfectly honest. If I had a choice, I would rather be in Gainesville than in Louisiana. However, LSU, oof. Yeah, boy. I don't know. He hasn't proven to be the guy that gets somebody over the top yet. He still hasn't won the SEC, and he hasn't even won a playoff game yet. So Lane Kiffin will have to see where he goes. But I was surprised he didn't take that job. Good to see you here, by the way. Go Gators. Jose, sorry you read that. Good to see you, Jose. Thank you very much. A valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. Huffer Billy Paw, appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks for the updates on the BYU Clemson game. Clemson's going to be good. If you hung with BYU, you even put a lead on BYU, you guys are going to be good in the ACC. I'm subscribed, just not a member, but appreciate it, Bomber. Thank you very much, Huffer Billy Paw. I appreciate your super chats. You've been very friendly tonight. Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you in the future. Let's see if there's any other new ones. This is interesting. RAD didn't push hard enough for Kiffin. That's interesting. I didn't know that. And you're good with Summerall. Summerall's a good, yeah, definitely. He's proven he's going to be okay. You guys are going to be fine. I think you were better than anybody's better than Napier. Should have run him 2 years ago, in my opinion. Steve Moser says you could actually match up all teams with teams from other conferences depending on finish. An improving 5-7 team would love to match up with a similar team from a different conference. Steve Moser, if you're going to go all the way with exhibition, go all the way. Why not? Why not? If two teams want to play and it's not a bowl game, they just want to play, let them play. Right now, I believe there are rules. They can't just essentially do a one-off game. And I hate it. The NCAA is stupid. There's so many of these rules that are archaic, that were built around the old bowl system. The new bowl system is antiquated and stupid and slow. If 2 5-7 teams want to get together, 4 and 8 teams, let them play. Let them practice. What the hell care? I mean, I've always thought those rules were super, super, super stupid. Let's see. Any other comments I missed? I don't have any more super chats. Let's see. Nothing really is super that draws my attention. No more super chats. Yeah, I'm not gonna take anybody else. Thank you so much for coming. Nobody called me, so I'll say the number one more time. If you want to call in right this second, I'll stick around. 801-899-6203. Otherwise, I will get out of here. Oh, last minute. Look who's in the door last. Always comes in at the last minute, but I appreciate it. Trent Brown, my brother's namesake. I appreciate it. My brother from another mother. The future is very, very bright for BYU. Go Cougs. Let's leave it on that. BYU is set up for success. If we can't turn the momentum we've got, we can't turn it into wins the next couple of years. That's on us. We can't blame anybody else. That's true, Trent. If we can't win with these new benefits that we've got, we'll never win. So now's the time to do it. I agree with you. This offseason is going to be fun to track for BYU. I'll be talking about that plenty. The end of the season, I'm probably not going to be ringing the bell a bunch because I'm done with the didn't make it in the CFP. Let's move on to the CFP games and let's talk big time football and a championship. Let's get there. But certainly BYU's future is very, very bright. Okay. Trent Brown, super chat, $2. Thank you so much, Trent. Nobody called me, 801-899-6203. So I will probably sign out. I appreciate everybody being here tonight on a Tuesday. I don't know. I think Moen's doing a Thursday night show. You'll have to check Moen After Dark. Follow him on Twitter. And he will post the next show, or follow the College Football Mafia on Twitter. And our next shows will be posted. But certainly Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, our big freaking Friday show, that's where we sort of sum everything up from the week and get ready for big games on the weekend. That's what we will be doing Thursday. I recommend everybody get into that. And we have one more call coming in. What's up, Jose? I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah. Yes, in the spring game. Yep. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it was only a matter of time. We were going to get here at some point, right? Where they were right on the edge, and whether they were accepted or not accepted was going to be the story. At the end of the day, we learned three things at the end of this season and the CFP process. One, everybody I think now realizes that 12's not enough. It's got to go something bigger. We're just not sure what that bigger is. If it stays at 12 or maybe even only to 14, that influence now, I think we can point directly at Notre Dame because now they're on record. They've said it out loud. Now everybody knows about this memorandum that if there are 12 or 14 teams under the current CFP format, Notre Dame, if they're top 12, is in. There have to be more than 12, and they would have been in under that rule this year. Next year is when it's supposed to go active. So I will be surprised, if not shocked, if in the offseason in January, February, when they go to finally secure whatever the next CFP edition is, it's going to be, in my opinion, it's probably going to be 12 to 14, so that Miami, or so that Notre Dame doesn't lose that special access. It needs to be bigger though. 16 is not enough even. I think we go to AQs. I think you go to 24. You play the top 24 essentially. And who's to say during the season everybody's happy with the top 25 game, right? If you're playing the top 25 game, you're not hearing people bitching and moaning about this. This matchup never should happen. These two teams should never be on the field. If you go to 24 teams right now, you're essentially the top 24. There might be a few exceptions, and all those matchups now matter. So if it doesn't matter, if it matters in week 14, why wouldn't it matter in week 15? The hypocrisy would just be laid bare. So we will have to see the next couple of months. People will learn really what is driving the strength of the CFP. Will be really telling in this next edition. If it doesn't go past 14, I think you can point directly at Notre Dame because they don't want to expand the playoff to everybody. They want to expand the playoff for themselves. And that's kind of where we're at, I think. Right. Right. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yes. I would be okay with that. Yeah. Yes. So why so yeah. Well, they did last year. That's exactly what they did last year, and that was a setup for the following year's top 25. That's why they do that is they put them in those spots. Even if it's one spot at the end of the year, the following year they can say, "See, they were only here. They weren't this low." So I think that all has to do with it. But at the end of the day, it Brett Yormark, the Big 12 only has Brett Yormark to blame because he's the one that's out there being the sock puppet for Greg Sankey, repeating the 511. We want to earn it on the field. And I don't understand why the Big 12 fans aren't freaking out. I don't know why the ACC fans aren't freaking out about that because they're both paying the same price. They need more AQs and they should be demanding it. And they're not. And the reason they're not is because ESPN drives the bus. You've already said that. Greg Sankey is the driver of the driver. And Notre Dame they're going to get theirs no matter what. Thanks. Appreciate it. It was good to talk to you. We'll see you later, Jose. Okay, bye. All right, Jose joined the show. Thank you so much for calling, man. I'm still here. If somebody wants to call in that we got from that conversation, I'm happy to talk about something else. 801-899-6203. My wife's at yoga, so I got time. I could stay longer if you guys want to talk. If you guys don't want to, I totally understand if you don't want to call. 801-899-6203. Somebody just said, Clint Moses says, Bomber, looking good. What's your secret? BYU CFP final ranking justified? No. BYU should have been in the spot. Look, if you're going to leave Alabama in, you have to leave BYU in. If you drop BYU, you have to drop Alabama. So, no, it wasn't fair, and it should have been Miami, Notre Dame, or BYU, Alabama. Wait, you guys couldn't hear? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I apologize. I forgot to activate. That is my fault. Jose, I am so sorry, Jose. I apologize. I forgot to activate your tab. Nobody heard your call. I did it to you twice? Next time you call, say, make sure I'm on. I'm sorry. Oh, gosh. You guys mad at me? Don't be mad at me, Jose. Call back in and we'll have that conversation again. Go back in and we'll have that conversation again. I can't believe people are still watching. There's like 400 people watching me who were watching me talking to the, dude, I am so sorry. I am so, oh, Jose, I am so sorry. I owe you. I owe Jose something. I don't know. I'll give you some. Jose, send me your address on Twitter and I'll send you a mafia flag. How about that? I'll send you a mafia flag. Rich Austin says musty TV. That's funny. I can't believe you guys are still here. I didn't read the chat because I'm talking on the I'm talking on the phone. That's pretty funny. Musty TV. At the end of the day, thank you, Huffer. I appreciate you too. You guys know I'm working for you. Sometimes I make mistakes. I do make mistakes. Send me your address, Jose, and I'll send you a mafia flag. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll send you a mafia flag. In fact, I've got a bunch of extra mafia flags I will sell. If you guys want them, let me know. If anybody wants to put their hand up, I'll sell you one for $10. I'll ship it to you. I got a bunch I haven't used for a while. I'm happy to get rid of them. I just pretty much have to cover shipping, which anymore is a lot. So anybody else wants to call in and have me screw you up? I feel so bad. I feel so bad. This is what Glenn's. Yeah. Oh my hell! You guys are the best. You guys are the best. I didn't look at the chat. I didn't look at the chat. I was listening to Jose, who always calls in fascinating. Jose was talking about Notre Dame and the playoff, and anyway. I owe Jose a beer. I do. All right. Anybody else want to call in? I could screw up your call too. I've now turned it on, and now I will ask if I don't get it. But if not, I will sign off. You guys have been fantastic tonight. Thank you for making this fun. It's always fun Tuesday nights. I always enjoy this. I will just tell everybody, look for Moen's show this week. I'm not sure what day, but just follow Moen in the College Football Mafia chat on Twitter. And then if you can't make those, I will see you Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here for the Big Freaking Friday show. Actually, you know what? I'm lying. I won't be there. I have a family party. I just remembered. I forgot to tell Moen and you. I'm going to be gone. They're going to have to get a third because I got to take off. I got a family Christmas party I got to go to. So I won't be. I might be here for the first 10 minutes or something, but then I got to take off. I need to let everybody know. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for all the super chats. I'll quickly call out everybody who gave me something tonight. Caden the Diesel Freak, membership given. Auntie0628, Texas Tech fan, gifted another membership. Greg's Adventures, that is Expedition Greg, became a member 17 months ago, and he gave me a comment. Daniel Gorby, big-time member, OG member of the College Football Mafia family, $5 super chat. Huffer Billy Paw is not a member yet. I hope you will be soon, Huffer Billy Paw. But he gave me a couple of super chats, actually. Rock and Rant gave $2. Caden the Diesel Freak, another $2 super chat. Stephen Moser, a $10 super chat. Greg's Adventures, that would be Expedition Greg, another $2 super chat. And then Trent Brown, to finish it out, gave me the last super chat. If you guys want to call in, one last chance, 801-899-6203. I also cannot put you on the air. No, season. You would be on the air. You'd be on the air. I don't know why that's happened to Jose twice. He's come on. It's just been bad luck. That's all I can say. It's not on purpose, Jose. All right, everybody. I appreciate you. Have a great night. Stay out of trouble. Enjoy this holiday season. If you think of somebody, a friend, a family, somebody you haven't seen for a while, and their name jumps into your head, that's inspiration. It's what that's called. Send that person a text. Call that person. Send them a fax, a Western Union, something. Let them know you're thinking about them, because I promise, I don't make a lot of promises. My kids know this. I promise you it's going to be well-founded. Whoever you're thinking of, when you call them, they'll be like, thank you, I needed this. They'll appreciate it. Especially in the holiday season, it's easy to get down. Don't let those people get depressed. Give them a hug at church or at the bar. Let them know you're thinking about them. If we're not here for each other, what the hell are we doing? If I know you, I don't shake hands. I give hugs for that reason. So hopefully we get to do a big college football mafia-thon in Vegas, and everybody comes, and I will hug every one of you. I appreciate everything that you've done for us. We've been doing this now 3 years, and I cannot be happier with where we're at. Obviously we want to keep growing. New subscribers, we've watched new people watching us all the time. If you're watching on X, do me a favor, not only follow me on Twitter, but jump over on YouTube and hit that subscribe button, and then consider becoming a new member of the College Football Mafia family. I guarantee your membership will be paid back in a month. You will get your money back. It's just real important to me that we take care of each other, okay? Even if we disagree, even if I tease, it's never done out of disrespect. Never. Even when I get huffy and puffy, it's not because it's out of disrespect. It's because sometimes I get passionate about stuff, and you guys are very kind to forgive me with that. So I want you to stay out of trouble. Thanks for calling in tonight. I'm going to turn off the phone since nobody else called. When that rings through at midnight, people call the number. I'm like, no, I don't think I want to take that. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I will see you on Friday, probably for a little bit. I'll join Friday night. Maybe I'll even start early, 5:30. That would be 7:30 Eastern. So look for that. I'll talk to Mo and we'll get that done. And I care about each one of you. You guys take care of your family and friends. And if your teams are playing in the playoff, good luck. That's all I can say. If you're a Texas Tech fan, I'm cheering for you. Miami fan, I'm cheering for you. Ohio State fan, I'm cheering for you. Who else is in? I'll have to look at the bracket and see who I'm actually cheering for. Probably a lot of teams, but we'll have to see. Thank you so much, guys. We will talk to you soon, okay? I love you. We will say go Cougars and peace out. We'll see you later.